Welcome to Faith Reloaded. I'm Rev Kev, and I'm here to stir your faith, sharpen your focus, and fuel your flame so you walk in power, not burn out. Take a breath, open your heart, let's lock in. This is Faith Reloaded. Well, welcome back to day 2 of Grace in the Grind. God is in the journey. Yesterday, we talked about Jesus being in the boat. The storm was loud, the disciples were scared, but Jesus was present. Today, we're moving from storms to shortages. Because let's be real, sometimes the issue is not wind and waves. Sometimes the issue is, Lord, I have more month than I have money. I have more responsibility than I have energy. I have more questions than answers. And I'm trying to be holy, but these gas prices are testing my sanctification. Come on, somebody. I know I'm not the only one. Today, this word is use what is in your hand. God can work with that. In 2 Kings chapter 4, we meet a widow in crisis. Her husband has died. She's in debt. The creditor is coming to take her 2 sons as slaves. This is not a minor inconvenience. This is not pray for me, I had a rough Monday. This is desperation. She comes to the prophet Elisha and pours out her need. And Elisha asks a strange question. He says, what do you have in your house? I love that. He doesn't start by shaming her. He doesn't say, well, sister, how did you get yourself into this mess? He doesn't say, if you only did this or you didn't do that. He doesn't say, you should have planned better. No, he starts where she is. God does not shame her need. Let me say this to somebody today. God is not intimidated by your need. God is not disgusted by your situation. God is not standing over you saying, I can't believe you're here. No, his mercy meets you in the reality of your need, not the fantasy version of where you wish you were. Some of us don't come to God honestly because we feel embarrassed. We try to dress up the need. We try to make it sound more spiritual, but God already knows. He knows the balance. He knows the pressure. He knows the private tears. He knows the anxiety you hide behind when you say, I'm good. And still, he asks, what do you have in the house? Not because he doesn't know, but because he wants you to see that provision may begin with something you've been overlooking. What looks like not enough may just be the seed of provision that you need. The widow says, your maidservant has nothing in the house but a jar of oil. Nothing. But that but matters. Because sometimes we call something nothing because it doesn't look like enough. I have nothing but a little oil. I have nothing but a little faith. I have nothing but one idea. I have nothing but one opportunity. I have nothing but one open door. I have nothing but one prayer left. But when God puts his hand on it, little becomes more than enough. And I want to parenthetically insert something from a book of 1 Kings with Elijah, not Elisha. And Elijah sent out his servant now there was a drought in the land because Elijah has said there will be no rain until I say there will be rain. And I believe it was like 3 years there was a drought. And Elijah was on the mountain or on overlook somewhere, and he sent his servant out to look and see what he saw. And the servant came back like 7 times and said he didn't see anything. And then right after the next time Elijah sent him out, he came back and said, I see a cloud the size of a man's hand. And then the next verse says that there was a downpour. You see, even when it's small, even if it's the size of a cloud that's the size of a man's hand, if God is in it, it is big. So don't despise the little when you have God's hand on it. Don't despise the little you have, because if God's hand is on it, it is big. Come on, somebody. Somebody better grab hold of that. God can work with a little oil. God can work with a little strength. God can work with a little courage. God can work with one phone call, one apology, one application, one step, one yes, one seed, one act of obedience. You may be calling it small, but heaven may be calling it a seed. And seed never looks like harvest when it starts. That's why faith is required. Because if you judge the future by what's in your hand right now, you may quit too early. But God says, give me what you have. Obedience makes room for overflow. Oh my God, I love that. Elisha tells her to go. Borrow empty vessels, not a few, but borrow vessels from everywhere. Then go inside, shut the door, and pour. Now watch this. The miracle didn't start with oil multiplying outside in the yard for everybody to see. It started behind a closed door. Sometimes God does his deepest work privately before anybody sees the overflow publicly. She poured, and as long as there were vessels, the oil kept flowing. The oil stopped when there were no more vessels. Let's look at that. See, that means the limitation was not in God's supply. The limitation was in the room available to receive. Could it be that God is asking you to make room for what he wants to do? Make room in your schedule. Make room in your habits. Make room in your heart. Make room in your budget. Make room in your obedience. Make room in your faith. Because sometimes we say, Lord, pour out, but we haven't brought him any empty vessels. Ask yourself today, am I making room for God's provision? Am I obeying the instruction he already gave me? Am I waiting for more while ignoring what he already placed in my hand? And let me help somebody. Some of us say, Lord, bless my finances. And God says, okay, first delete the shopping app. And we say, get thee behind me, Satan. No, baby, that wasn't Satan. That was wisdom. Come on, somebody. Some of all you know exactly what I mean. Sometimes the miracle starts with oil. Sometimes it starts with a budget. Sometimes it starts with canceling the subscription you forgot you had, but they keep remembering you every month. No, man, don't shout me down. You know, I'm speaking truth right there. Provision is not always dramatic. Sometimes provision looks like discipline. Sometimes provision looks like humility. Sometimes provision looks like asking for help. Sometimes provision looks like using what is already in the house. Ask yourself, what has God already placed in your hand that you have been calling not enough? What if that little thing is the beginning of provision? Say this with me. God can use what I have. I will not despise small beginnings. I will obey the instruction God gives me. I will make room for his provision. God does not just meet me at the finish line. He gives me grace for the next step. Amen. Today, don't overlook the oil. Don't ignore the small thing. Don't wait for perfect conditions to obey God. Use what's in your hand. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about strength, because sometimes the issue is not you don't have enough oil. Sometimes the issue is that you're tired. Now, I don't mean cute tired. No, not I need a nap tired. I mean soul tired. So tomorrow's episode is called Running on Empty. Grace fills the tank. Until then, obey what God has spoken. Use what he has placed in your hands. And remember, grace in the grind. God is in the journey. And grace for the next step. And he doesn't just meet us at the finish line. He gives us grace for the next step. This is Rev Kev, and I want to thank you for hanging out with me today on the Faith Reloaded podcast. If this episode blessed you, take a moment to share it with someone who needs encouragement. And don't forget to subscribe, to rate, and to leave a comment. And share it so more people can find it. You can get more resources, messages, videos on our websites, whwcfla.org and votm.org. You can also download our apps that are available in both app stores. Everything is there to help you walk this thing out day by day with Jesus. Until next time, remember, you're not alone. God is with you, and he's not finished with your story. Stay ready, stay steady, locked in on Jesus, and keep your faith reloaded.